Welcome back for another video. It's a double upload day as we look forward to the Tuesday deadline for GW14. The experts will follow later today. So no time to waste, let's get straight into it. Starting off with a quick look at how last game week went. It was actually my best game week of the season so far, 98 points all out. So that's a rise of 1 million to 191k in just 3 game weeks. Absolute dream few weeks. And a lot of luck as well, landing on the right side of some very tight 50-50 calls. I was incredibly close to going Strand Larsen to João Pedro and playing Vardio instead. Instead I opted for Lewis de Van Heck, who obviously didn't keep a clean sheet annoyingly, but that was 13 points gained off that in what was a really fine margin decision. The 3 me in midfield went big as well, Salah with 13 points, Saka with 18 and Captain Palmer for 28 points. Back to Strand Larsen though, what a hero. He was about 2.5% owned heading into the game week, so some serious differential points there. Wood went on to score Forest's only goal. In fact, his only shot on target and it was from the penalty spot, but he still managed to clinch all 3 bonus points. So my entire bench scored -1 point, so it's just as well that everyone played in the end. Let's have a look at your masterclasses and disaster classes from the game week. Marwan said, I forgot to do my FPL team. I was planning on Aina and Wood in for Robertson and Cunha, but it's fine. Still finished on 103 points. Fandango said, disaster class with no Salah or Saka, Haaland and Son blanks. Digne subbed on for Solanke, finished on 49 points after a -4 hit. It was a swingy gaming for sure. Claire took a -4 hit, Haaland and Anana out for Saka and João Pedro for a 14 point gain. And further to that, she finished on 108 points or 104 after the hit. Ren says, my disaster class. Wood and Viss are out for João Pedro and Cunha for a -4, which was a -17 gain. Mohamed got the biggest score and he said definitely a masterclass. Returns from Anana, Gabriel, Aina, Captain Saka, Salah, Palmer, Strand Larsen, Havertz and Wood. 115 points. Valar simply says, what do you even call this? Finished on 37 points, Captain Isaac, and Palmer and Gabriel the only returns, brutally unlucky to finish on 37. The lowest score in the top 10k was just 28 points, which underlines the swingy nature of last game week. The captain Welbeck and Salah's Hall was their only returns. And lastly, Cool Joshido from Reddit sent me this one. It's actually the biggest score in the world. Rosie's all reds. A crazy team for multiple reasons here. First of all, she's picking players from teams with red shirts only. Secondly, she bench boosted. And thirdly, it's not one of those managers that makes a new team just to try and get the biggest score. She's 3.7k in the world now. Thanks very much for your submissions. Let's get onto the team for Game Week 14 and transfer plans. Before we get into that, I've just launched a huge update on FPL.page and the FPL Focal app. In a nutshell, due to the app's insane popularity, the costs went through the roof, so basically I've had to put ads on it. And then I had the idea to complement that with a cheap subscription to hide the ads, and you get some other perks like custom themes, so you can pick any colour you like for your dashboard. You can add and remove widgets, so if there's any that you're not interested in, then just remove them. Full dashboard customization, so you can move the widgets around wherever you want them. It's fully supported on both your phone and PC as well. If you are interested, it's just £1.49, and I've made the first month completely free to decide if you like it first. Obviously, since there's so many game weeks in December, this is the best month of the season to try it. Thanks for your support. FPL.page or search FPL Focal in the App Store. Onto the team then, and starting off in goal with Raya. I did briefly consider whether it's an opportunity to play Fabianski, who's away to Leicester. The clean sheet probabilities favour Arsenal, so it's Raya with the home fixture to Man United. He needs to string a few clean sheets together now, having fallen down to 5th in terms of the keeper points. Other cheaper goalkeepers have represented better value to date. In defence, it's Vardio, Gabriel and Pedro Porro. So Vardio was benched against Liverpool. Ake was deployed on left back to try and nullify Salah. And it might have also been because he did have a poor game against Feyenoord last week, perhaps a rest as well. The hope is that he's back in the starting 11 this week following the loss to Liverpool. City actually were joint top with Arsenal for the clean sheet probabilities this week, given a 45% chance home to Forest. Can City turn around this horrendous patch of form? It's the first time they've lost 4 league games in a row since 2008, and it's the first time it's happened in Pep's career as well. My gut feeling is that they do turn it around this week. Porro is away to Bournemouth, which doesn't have great clean sheet potential in my eyes, but no immediate plans to sell him. He does have Southampton in a couple of weeks' time as well, and he's bound to haul as soon as I ship him on. I'd love to switch him or Vardy to Trent in a few weeks' time, but at the moment I'm not seeing a path that I like that gets me there currently. I might have to be Van Dijk or Gomez instead. Arsenal's press conference will be on Tuesday afternoon, waiting to hear what's said on Gabriel. Not that Arteta's likely to give a direct honest answer. After the West Ham game, he said, it was related to the previous injury they had in Lisbon. With the niggle that he's feeling, we decided to take him off, so Gabriel came off at half time that match. He did post on social media, see you on Wednesday, so it does seem like he'll play. Onto my midfield, which is Mbeumo, Palmer, Saka, Salah and Semenyo. So Semenyo's back in the team after serving his 1-match suspension. He'll need 10 yellow cards now for a 2-match suspension. In fact, just thinking about it now, that yellow card was an absolute blessing in a way, and it goes to show how much luck plays a role in FPL, because my plan was to bench Strand Larsen for Semenyo had he been available. I suppose it's very possible that Semenyo could have hauled himself, with Bournemouth having put 4 past Wolves, but we'll never know. It does mean that I've got an attacker versus defender this week with Porro, but I'd rather play Porro than Van Heck. There's only one name I'm considering for captaincy this week, Palmer. Southampton have moved to the bottom, worse than any team for expected goals conceded this season, with 27.84 XGC. Further to that, Howard Bellis, Downs and Dibbling are all suspended for this one, Bednarek and Ramsdale injured. You could even make the case for triple captaincy to be honest, but it's probably best saved for a home fixture. Is anyone considering anyone other than Palmer for captaincy? If you haven't got him at all, then he needs to be a priority transfer this week in my opinion. Salah gets the vice captaincy against an underperforming Newcastle side. After that City game, he's now scored and assisted in a Premier League game for the 36th time. That's the joint most by a player in Premier League history, equaling Wayne Rooney's record of 36 as well. 9 double-digit returns in 13 games, 69% of games is unbelievable. That's the same number of double-digit hauls that he had in the entirety of last season, and we're not even halfway. 133 points after 13 game weeks is the most points he's ever had at this stage in his 8 years at Liverpool. He's 38 ahead of where he was for his record-breaking 17-18 season when he went on to score 303 points. He couldn't, could he? Mbeumo is my potential transfer out this week. First of all, Brentford's fixtures are pretty grim now. Villa, Newcastle, Chelsea, Forest, Brighton, Arsenal, Southampton, Man City and Liverpool, all the way from now until mid-January. Another quiet game from Mbeumo as well last match, 1 chance created, 0 shots, 0.08 XGI. He was playing a bit wider than you want to see him against Leicester. It's all about Shadow and Visser. 0.54 XGI over the last 4 game weeks is pretty grim reading as well. That's just behind Joelinton, Yates and Brooks. I don't think holding him's terrible either, but his ownership's massive, and it feels like an opportunity to take on the Mbeumo ownership. More of that in the transfer plans in a minute. Lastly, Saka completes the midfield. Can the 3-man midfield go big again? It's going to be really interesting to watch as Amrin still figures out his best 11. A Man United side that's going to be taking confidence into this game as well after that 4-0 win over Everton and potential new manager bounce. It feels like a huge portion of the game are slowly gravitating towards the 3 premiums, Salah, Saka and Palmer. So every day that goes by, the potential gains are reduced due to the ownership. So the others in my team are going to need to chip in, which they certainly did last game week. Up front, I'm running with the Wolves double up again, Cunha and Strand Larsen. I'm really hoping that this one's not a snooze fest away at Everton. It's a huge game really. Everton are heading into a horrendous fixture run after this game, and Wolves sit 18th in the Premier League table. A win takes them outside the relegation zone and above Everton. I'll be holding on to both of these for the next 4 game weeks, as it's those Ipswich and Leicester fixtures in particular later in December that look really juicy, and then I'll shake up my front 3 accordingly. My bench this week is Fabianski, Van Heck, Wood and Greaves. Pretty good cover on the bench this week. Perhaps Wood should even be ahead of Van Heck really, given City's defensive frailties. So Van Heck drops to the bench after buying him last game week. However, he was also bought with game week 15 and 17 in mind, where I could use him over Porro when he's got Chelsea and Liverpool, so he'll be back. Just 0.2 mil on the bank and 1 free transfer, so let's move straight on to the next segment, transfer plans for game week 14. There's 2 ways that I can go this week. Option 1 is Wood to João Pedro. They're away to Fulham, who can be a tough fixture at Craven Cottage on their day. I'd have to bench one of Semenyo or Strand Larsen as well. So instead, following on from those points about Mbeumo, I'm planning to sell him for Bowen. Bowen's exactly what I need for December. He's nailed on for every game, 90 minutes pretty much every game, great fixtures as well. Leicester, Wolves, Bournemouth, Brighton, Southampton. I'll still have the option to sell Wood as well for João Pedro in game week 15 instead when they've got Leicester, so I like it this way around more. Now Kudus has also served his 5-match suspension, so he'll be back as well. I still like Bowen more personally, but things are lining up where we could see West Ham sharp in December with this run, so I'm going to take a chance on that. And Full Crew could be back by game week 15 as well. Obviously there is a risk involved selling Mbeumo with that high ownership, and he's on penalties at the end of the day, while Bowen's not on penalties, but that's where I'm at currently. Bowen's just 6% owned as well. Let us know what your transfer plans are in the comments. It's a double upload day with the expert series to follow later. Hit subscribe and like the video if you're enjoying all the FPL content. See you soon for the next one.